Because to be honest with you guys, I never understood the experimentation side of data science until I understood cross-validation, right? Because until you start seeing that, then it doesn't make sense to say you're going to run experiments on data. Like, what do you mean by that, right? So now we have something to measure against because we know that different values are going to give us different results. So speaking of that, thinking about what we just said, maybe you can infer what hyperparameters are. So does anybody want to take a shot? And even looking at the code here kind of helps. Explain it to me like I'm 5 years old. What's a hyperparameter? Give you guys a minute to think about that. Give me the 5-year-old elevator pitch on hyperparameters. Patrick says, any parameter that your model doesn't learn from your data. Patrick, my friend, I'm not sure if I'm on board with that. Give me a little bit more. Maybe I'm just not understanding your answer. But as stated, I'm not on board with that. Anybody else on hyperparameters? Okay, Rohan says parameter used to bring down the RME. Oh, we have a participant from Twitch. We don't get a lot from Twitch, so welcome. Great answer, by the way. Geez, the N-Sweep, our Twitch user, coming in strong. It's a dial you can turn to change how the machine reads or adjust to training data. That is a pretty good 5-year-old explanation, my friend. Coming in hot there. Their first message in the chat was dead accurate. Good job, N-Sweep. That's also a fantastic answer. And you know what I like about this answer is that they also mention how it's different hyperparameters depending on the model. So that's one of the things you should know. Hyperparameters are going to be different for all the models that you work on. So here in time series, we're going to see its own set of hyperparameters. Nyan mentions the learning rate, which is usually associated with like neural networks, and as you go, other models will have different hyperparameters because I want to know what hyperparameters are available, right? And so as N-Sweep mentions, you can think of it as different dials that you can adjust, that you can do experiments on, right? What I tell my staff, the people that work for me, I tell them, let's make sure we always have a lever to pull on, right? Like I said, I call it levers. It gives you something to be able to experiment with, and that's another like synonym you should be thinking about for hyperparameters. There are ways for you to experiment. So you can see that here, right, in lines 7 and 8 of the code. They are picking 2 hyperparameters, and then this list is the different values they want to attempt for those hyperparameters. Said another way, these are the experiments that they want to try, right? This is how you actually set up your data experiments. So I really hope you guys are seeing like the parallels to the scientific method, right?